What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here today for the Sunday weekly market review, recap, news, all the nonsense from the last week in the wonderful world of sports cards. Right off the get, a little bit of housekeeping, and then we'll dive right in. One, I am considering firing up some Underdog Fantasy Baseball leagues. We did these with basketball and they went pretty successfully. We did them with football, went pretty successfully. So, thinking about doing it for baseball as well. I'll probably not set the first one up for a couple weeks because as soon as the draft fills, it runs. So, if you are interested, just let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, I'd be interested in baseball. It would probably be $10. They're best ball leagues, so you don't have to set a lineup every day. It's $10. It's a slow draft. So once the league fills, the draft starts, and it takes like a week to do the draft. You have like 8 hours to make your pick. So we'll probably set up the first one early February. I'll probably mention it on the weekly sports card market update at that point in time, and then also tweet it out and probably post it on the community page as well. If I don't hear that enough people are interested in it, I probably won't run one, but I'll probably at least try to get one off the ground. And if there's a ton of interest, I can run multiples. That's not a problem. Or if you want to join more than one, that's perfectly fine too. It'll be $10. That'll probably be a 10-team league. First through third pays out. They were a lot of fun with basketball and football. I did won one of the football ones. I think I finished second in another one and lost another one. Basketball's been rough. Basketball, I'm getting my ass kicked. So that's one thing. Second thing, and I only mentioned this a couple times. About 100 people in there. I do have a Discord. No charge, no memberships, no nothing. There is a link in the description of this video if you want to check that out and chit chat. Easy way to get a hold of me or just kind of discuss recent videos. There's a bunch of different categories, different topics in there. Some people in there chit chatting throughout the day, most days of the week. So if you are a Discord person, I did start one of those up about a month or so ago. I just really haven't been promoting it that much because I keep forgetting to mention it, to be quite honest. But the link to that is in the description down below. With all that being said, that's it. Let's just go ahead and dive straight on in this week. So, first things first, Dallas show is this weekend. I am obviously not there as I've never attended a Dallas show. It never seems to kind of fit with the travel schedule for me. I have a couple dealers that I talked to down there that message me and kind of give me vibes checks from their perspective. One of the people that I talked to, they have about 5 or 6 tables across a few different people. And I've heard this from a few other people as well. And also, if you attended Dallas this weekend, please feel free. Drop your experiences down below. How was it? Busy, slow, stuff moving, not moving, what was moving, all that stuff. Feel free to fire off in the comments. Foot traffic was good, is what everyone has been telling me. Is pretty normal Dallas show, not lighter or super busy or anything like that. Just pretty much par for the course. The couple big things that I have heard, and once again, this was from multiple people, and this is from their perspective. Big show. They're not seeing the whole thing, so mileage may vary there, but that $200 to $500 stuff is what's flying out the door, and that football is still really hot. And he said this is the first time that he has kind of seen people looking to trade down. A lot of people looking to trade down. So they want to take a $2,000 card and trade it for a couple $500 cards and maybe get a little bit of cash. He said a lot of people are looking to move down in value. And it kind of goes with, kind of what I've been talking about a lot recently with kind of switching things up a little bit. Like, I think you want a lot of $100 to $300 cards in your case, especially if you're setting up as a dealer. I think that's really the sweet spot for most, decent sized shows. Smaller local shows, I think you want a little bit cheaper than that, but that couple $100 price point really seems to be the winner from a slab perspective. Yeah, it's nice to have $2,000-$3,000 Lucas, $1,000 LeBrons and all that, but right now it is hard to move that stuff for cash. $50, $100, $150, even $200, then you start getting in the impulse buy zone for most people. Anyway, And I also thought it was interesting commentary on people wanting to trade down. I would really like to get to a Dallas show at one point in time. I just don't know because travel just seems to be tricky there from Cleveland. There's not a lot of direct flights, and the ones that are, every time I've looked, have always been pretty pricey. Atlanta is later this month. I do not believe I'm going to make that show. I have a very busy February that's going to have me traveling a little bit, and I just don't know that I could swing multiple trips that close together. But Atlanta is kind of like the next big show at the end of this month. But I don't believe I'll be able to make that one. I am planning on shooting for the Shipshawana show. That is coming up March 4th and 5th, I believe. It's a Friday, Saturday this time through, which is actually a little bit easier for me to get there. So I am going to gun for that, assuming there's no weather issues. I'm kind of actually waiting to book the hotel room for that because Ohio and Indiana in March, we occasionally like to get blizzards. So I'm going to wait till about the week before, make sure that the weather forecast is fine, and then go ahead and lock that in. But my expectation is to attend the Shipshawana show, assuming no significant weather issues. But I just want to hold off on booking anything. I can't imagine Shipshawana is a hot button destination in early March when the flea market's not fired up and everything. So, but I am planning on attending that show. I missed the last one. And I want to make sure I get out to this one. Next up, some news bites. I have not had a really chance to talk about this in a video. I was just kind of saving it for this, honestly. Lawsuit week in the hobby is going around. I saw PSA is getting hit with a class action. I did not really dig into the details on that one. Also, the big one, the one that's grabbed a lot of headlines, is that Card Porn is getting sued for, I believe, defamation and a bunch of other shenanigans. Focused around this particular LeBron card that you see on the screen. Essentially what's happened here is the photo on the left is allegedly the original version of the card, and the photo on the right is the patch swapped version of the card that you can kind of see in a Beckett slab up there. The people suing Card Porn are saying, that this is basically not true, doctored photos. I don't know, you could dig into it on Lesko's Twitter. I'm not going to sit here and read down his Twitter for you, but just more of putting it on your radar that this is kind of going on. It will be very intriguing to see how this all plays out. I am curious. But the funny part of the lawsuit is that it was, I forget the guy suing, but versus John Doe because he doesn't know who Card Porn is. Which I believe the running theory is that it is multiple people potentially based overseas, which would also add a couple extra layers of complications to all this. So it'll be just kind of intriguing to see how this all kind of shakes itself out. So I just kind of want to put that all on your radar. If you're not following Paul Lesko on Twitter, I don't know what you're doing. You 100% should be. If you're not following me on Twitter, you should be as well. I don't mention that one enough either. I always forget. Twitter and IG are in the description in the video down below. Talked about Beckett yesterday. They kind of had their price changes, a little bit of discounts, some interesting comments on that video. Long story short, their turnaround times seem to be all over the place. I had people commenting on that video that said, oh no, they're great. I got my stuff back in like 25 days. And I had other people be like, nope, took me months, or it's in the process of taking months. So it doesn't seem to be maybe some first in, first out. I don't know what's going on. But turnaround time comments on that video were a little all over the place. As I stated yesterday, now that we kind of have grading for everybody, or grading prices rather, for all the major companies, perhaps this week we'll kind of sit down and do a little state of the grading now that everyone's prices are locked in, and just kind of like run through some stuff. I haven't done like a price comp comparison video in a long time. So maybe we'll kind of dive into that. We'll kind of poke around and see what we could find there. But Beckett was the final one of the big four that we were kind of waiting to see what their pricing was going to shake out like at the beginning of the year. I still would not be surprised if we see some sort of PSA special by the 1st of February, something to kind of shake up their prices. I think they kind of want to work through that little surge that they got with the $15 pricing ending at the end of December. I feel like they're treating January as a catch-up month, and then we'll kind of see what happens going forward from there. It's pretty much all I have on the news front. So we will go ahead and dive into some charts and graphs. If you want your own charts and graphs, link in the description. The best thing that I say is, if you haven't tried it, try it. If you don't like it, Cancel it. Easy as that. I am recording this video. I need to note this. No NFL football games have been played yet. I am recording this early Saturday afternoon. I just got back from my local show. Sat down and knocking this one out before the football games start. I kind of wanted to do this video this week, or a version of this video, the kind of the section we're going to talk about, and run through a lot of the trendy names in the football space. This charts and graphs portion of this video, we are going to be football heavy with a little touch on baseball. We're probably not going to talk much NBA today. Just kind of throwing that out there. But I am recording this prior to any games being played. So I don't know what happens in Seahawks-Niners, and I don't know what happens in Chargers-Jaguars, and then obviously the Sunday games are going to be played later today when you all are watching this. So, first up, we got the Geno man. This is over his last 30 days. Now, he does not have a lot of cards graded at all. And actually, I'm sorry, this is longer than 30 days because I had to go back further just to, it is 30 days. I had to go back further to see sales history on his stuff initially. His PSA 10 base refractor Topps Chrome's going for about $90. Nothing crazy. I could tell you the previous sale to this was also around $90, but it was a while ago. It's only popped 16. So I also ran his raw stuff. The base is up $1, and the refractor is up about $4. No one is expecting them to win. He has really kind of come back down to earth to close out the season. So, I mean, I guess if they pulled a shocker, his stuff might see a spike. But I just don't see them winning. The 49ers are probably my favorite team to get out of the NFC. And I think the Bills are my favorite team to come out of the AFC. The Bills kind of feel like they might be the team of destiny. And then they rally around the DeMar Hamlin situation. And that maybe gives them just that little boost that they need to put them above the Chiefs and the Bengals, who probably are my second and third favorite teams in the AFC in no particular order. But I do think it's the Bills in the AFC, and I think my favorite is the Niners coming out of the NFC. I don't think that's shocking. They're probably the best team outside of the Purdster. But we'll talk about him more in a minute. So that's Geno Smith stuff real quick. I just wanted to throw that in there because he has had, like, all jokes aside, Geno has had a really nice season. Speaking of the Purdy, there really isn't a lot to chart and graph on Purdy. I just pulled this one. This is his certified. It's numbered to 399. You could kind of see the rise of the Purd man. This was sitting at around $50 in early December and is currently up to a little over $100. Mosaic Football just came out and he is in Mosaic Football, so that's probably going to slide into this slot. But sales data on that was really all over the place because that stuff just came out, so it's going to be selling high to begin with. It hasn't market adjusted as supply comes onto the market as people continue to rip. And it's really going to come down to what he looks like. We'll see. This feels like a trap and a half. He is a perfectly fine quarterback. He is not going to be worth the prices people pay for people. I just hate to say it. He is blessed that he is on probably the best roster and the best coaching staff in the NFL, top to bottom, outside of his position. But when you're on a really good team, sometimes that's all you need, is to just be above average. I think a lot of people are going to lose money on Purdy long term. I don't think that that's a shocking statement by any means, but if you're buying Purdy now in the middle of the playoffs, especially if he won Saturday afternoon, and once again, I shouldn't go too far down this because I could sound like an idiot right now if they got smashed by the Seahawks. But just be very careful with Purdy, especially if they have won. You people already know what happened in that game. So just be very, very careful throwing a bunch of money around on Purdy. If I was ripping wax and I pull guys like this, I am selling as fast as possible. To be honest, if I pulled a nice Purdy, if I was ripping Mosaic this weekend and I pulled one of his cards, and especially more so if they won yesterday, I would be listed. I wouldn't even grade it. I'd just be selling it raw and moving on, honestly. Next up, Daniel Jones also has had a really nice season. This is a Silver Prism PSA 10 over the last 30 days. I kind of wanted to see the run up to the beginning of the playoffs and then kind of spin this forward in a couple weeks as these guys start getting knocked off. Because that's the thing. Most of these players, you're going to see green in their charts as the teams have played well and it starts looking more and more likely that they're going to the playoffs. Their stuff starts to trend up, but now it's one and done. You know, two of these guys enter the arena and one of them is going home every single game, and then prices are going to start to tail off. But Daniel Jones had a really nice season, good season by the Giants. I don't think they win against the Vikings, but we'll see. His Silver Prism's up $75. That's a 75% increase over the last 30 days. Kind of a low pop on this at 185. But he is probably the more desirable quarterback than Kyler Murray at this point out of that class. And we'll see what happens if they win and move on. Trevor Lawrence. He has been extremely trendy lately. This is over the last 30 days. He's been getting a ton of buzz. And the Saturday night game, once again, you guys and girls already know what happened. I'll go ahead and say I think the Jaguars pull that one off. I don't like the Mike Williams injury, and the Chargers, man, they just always seem to have something stupid happen in games and get in their own way. But from a hobby standpoint, the Lawrence, and we'll talk about Herbert in a minute, Herbert matchup is devastating having these two guys go head-to-head round one. Because these are hobby darlings, and Lawrence has really picked up steam lately. This is his last 30 days. I included the PSA 10 silver, but only one has sold. This card is very low pop at pop 35. It went for $2,500. You can see his PSA 10 Optic Hollow is up 75%. His Silver Prism is up 60%. And his PSA 9 Optic Hollow is up 86%. So generally speaking, Lawrence has had an excellent last 30 days, both in football and in the card market. Once again, I don't want to go too far down the path of speculating on what his card prices are going to do because you all already know what happened and I don't. But that's Lawrence's market where it sits today as of before that game happened. But one of these guys is probably really going to take off and the other one is probably going to pull back. Not exactly breaking any major news there. Speaking of Herbert, let's talk about him and Burrow. I pulled their stuff together because they're kind of always linked. Over the last 30 days, a little movement, not a ton. Herbert Silver Prism up just barely. Optic Hollow 10 down just slightly. Burrow Optic Hollow 10 up slightly. Silver Prism 10 up a little bit more at $2,100. But we see that separation where Burrow has kind of eclipsed Herbert in regards to pricing. I think the Bengals have a decent shot to make a pretty good run here. I don't think the Ravens pose much of a threat at all without Lamar Jackson, so they should win that one. And then we'll kind of see what happens next week. The Herbert, once again, the Herbert Lawrence thing, and you guys already know what happened. That's going to be an intriguing one for where their prices go over the next couple weeks, even this time next week. It'll be interesting to see how much stuff dropped off. We'll probably be doing a lot of football updates on these. Unless maybe I'll start doing them on Friday. Just cover football really quickly. That's what I wanted to do with this, and then other stuff got in the way. That way we kind of could talk about it before the games actually happen. Jalen Hurts, he's on a bye week. His stuff actually dipped the last 30 days. He got hurt, missed those couple games, took the wind out of his sails for the MVP race, and cooled his prices a little bit. His Optic Hollow 10 down about 10%. His Silver Prism up slightly. Silver PSA 9 down slightly. And Optic Hollow 9 flat. We'll see if he can get it together. He played last week, but it sounds like that shoulder is still giving him a lot of problems. They're obviously on a bye this week, so his stuff could spike if they go on a deep run. Obviously, once again, not breaking any news there. It's really gambling at this. I mean, all sports cards are gambling to some degree or another. But you're really just banking on the guy winning. If they go on a win streak here, win a game or two, his stuff's going to go through the moon, especially if he looks good doing it. I'm a little concerned about that shoulder injury. Hopefully he gets that right with this week off, and we'll kind of see what happens there. If you are a big Hurts believer, you could potentially do some short-term flips here with his stuff dipping a little bit. All the focus is kind of on the guys playing, so you might be able to sneak in and snipe a couple auctions on the cheap. And then if they win, go to the NFC title game and win, there'll probably be a window to flip for a decent profit. There might be some short-term arbitrage here, but highly risky. Next up, let's go to the top of the class. We have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, the hobby darlings that they are. Over the last 30 days, their markets have been, for the most part, flat. Allen, Optic Hollow, up 5%. Silver Prism, Mahomes down slightly. Optic Hollow down slightly. I pulled the Allen Prism autograph because the silver he doesn't really have. It just doesn't exist. It's like pop 26 in a PSA 10. That's up 30%. His base is only up 5%, and we stuck a Tom Brady on there on accident. That's for the next slide. So these guys basically staying where they are. It's going to take them to go on a run. And whichever one doesn't make it, especially depending on how they kind of bail out of the playoffs, one of these guys could be in for some pain, if not both of them, if they don't win the Super Bowl or make it there. The problem with these guys is there's a lot baked in. And if they get pulled out of the oven a little early, it could cause some problems. It could cause some buying opportunities if you believe in them long term. But got to be careful here. Once again, I think I'm a little. I think the Bills may be the team of destiny. We'll see what happens. Last but not least, Tom Brady. Saw the sneak peek on the slide before. This is just his Bowman base paper. PSA 10, PSA 9. PSA 9 up slightly. PSA 10 down slightly. Not a big believer in the Buccaneers making a deep playoff run. I do think they beat the Cowboys, but I don't know if they go much further than that. We'll kind of see. That team's been weird all year. But it's the playoffs, and it's Brady, so who the hell knows? But I think it would take them making a deep playoff run for his stuff to see significant spikes. And I don't know. Be intriguing to see, like, if they got bounced tomorrow night, like, would Brady cards crash? Or would they stay flat? Or slightly tick down? That's an interesting one. I don't know how those would go. Intriguing. Last but not least, let's go ahead and transition over, wrap up on some baseball, and then get out of here. The big kind of thing in baseball this week, Topps Chrome Update Sapphire came out on Topps' website. $130 a box. Mistakes were made by me. I ordered 5 boxes at $130 a pop. They sold out in about 45 minutes, and they are going for a little over $200 a piece on the secondary market. I debated getting 10. I only got 10 was the limit. That was the limit per account. I only got 5. Can't win them all. The big thing about this product is that there is on-card autos in it. You are not guaranteed 1 per box. They're going to be hard to hit, but the checklist is a lot smaller, and it seems like it may end up being a pretty good product. Like I said, I have 5 of those coming. I will probably rip 1 and stash the other 4. It's against my better judgment to rip the 1, but I will rip 1 for you all so we could kind of see what it looks like and get a feel for that product. I'm just kind of curious, mostly curious about the quality control issues that regular Topps Chrome Update had. Topps Chrome Sapphire did not. So we'll see if Update Sapphire does. So I'm thinking we will bite the bullet and rip 1 of those once they come in. I probably will be a couple weeks. I think it said 10 to 15 business days or something crazy like that before these shipped out. But once I get 1 in hand, I think we will end up cracking 1 of those open as we move closer and closer to spring training. So that's all I really have for you guys today. Like I said, very football heavy with the NFL playoffs starting. And it probably, I would imagine this video will continue to be a little football skewed for at least the next couple weeks as we move throughout the NFL playoffs and start picking back up towards baseball season, and basketball kind of gets through the All-Star break and moves into Woj bomb season, and then maybe that market gets a little shuffled up. But football is going to be the most volatile over the next few weeks as these guys go up and down depending on performance and winning. So we'll see what happens as we move through it. Videos for this upcoming week. I have a pickups video that I need to record. I have a small stack of cards that I have been buying, some wax that I picked up. That'll be 1 video. In addition to that, I have a video dropping probably about TCG wax. I have recently kind of doubled down on some of that product, so I kind of wanted to talk about it. I hinted about it in the plan of attack for 2023 video, so I'd like to record that and get that up this week. Also, probably a box opening this week. WandaVision, the Marvel set based off the TV show, the MCU show, comes out this week. I have a box of that on the way. That will probably be up either Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning, depending on the FedEx man. But I'll probably put that up as soon as I open it and get it out. So that might be a double video day. We'll see. And maybe a live stream. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to sneak one in Saturday night when you guys and girls may have already seen the live stream. Probably depending on how the football games go. Probably not, most likely, just looking at the schedule. But I'd like to get a live stream, and I have not live streamed for a while. I'd like to try to sneak one in at some point in time, and then we'll see what else pops up. But that's all I have for you guys and girls. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.